here we are with another Cosmic Salon. And I have what I consider my good friend Randy Maugans with me. And this is, as all the Cosmic Salons, an open chat. This is not an interview. This is us having a little kiki, a little chit-chat. This is us getting on in the way we do. And so with that, I'm going to bring on Randy.
Hey, hello, conversation. Yeah, I'm sitting here with a cup of Earl Grey tea, so that should make it a little more cozy.
Do you take sugar and cream?
Just a little bit of sugar, just a little bit.
Just a tad. If it's Earl Grey, I have to have a little tad of little bit of sweet in there.
Yeah, it kind of levels off the peak blackness of it, but otherwise, it's not overly sweet.
Yeah.
No milk.
Yeah. I am drinking tea as well. I drink it straight, but I make weird tea, so I make it with herbs and stuff. So I have ginger in this. I have chaga. I have cinnamon.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, I do chaga tea. Chaga tea is a natural antimicrobial, by the way.
Chaga is good to us.
Oh, yeah.
The sacred mushrooms are good to us, Randy.
Sacred mushrooms. Oh, tell me about it. There's entire worlds I've visited as a result of mushrooms. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? Well, it's an alien. People want to talk alien. We should start always with mushrooms. That's I think the whole
absolutely
situation. Yeah. So for people that may not know, which would be surprising to me at this point, you are the creator of OffPlanet Radio or media. I never am sure. The media is just a platform. That was sort of a business designation. I call it OffPlanet Radio TV now. Mm-hmm. Formally, it's just OffPlanet Radio, and most of the time I just go with that. Yeah.
The website, which is sadly neglected these days, is offplanetradio.com. And if you search my name or OffPlanet Radio, they're synonymous. They'll come up.
Yeah.
Along with, a lot of other interesting stuff.
Yes. You're very easy to find. And anyone can find. I'm constantly retweeting you and stuff on Twitter because I love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we have that's our little clutch there too.
It is.
Woo Twitter.
Totally. That's, people complain about their Twitter feed, but mine is just filled with people I love. So
yeah. I don't get a lot of aggravation out of Twitter. Twitter's kind of good to me too.
Yeah, same here. So, this is the thing. We create our world. We create our Twitter.
Exactly.
But I asked you on specifically, there's been some stuff you've been talking about. I love the Eye of the Needle series and the recent episode with Lotta. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's just a constant thing. And you're one of the people that brought into my world the idea of where water goes. I had very specific memories of sitting at the bottom of a pool when I first talked to you. That brought up something for you to bring to my table, which I was unaware of. And then now that I've dug deeper into that through people like Shane Bales, it seems to be a common theme, the pool thing, sitting at the bottom. I want to hash that out a little. For those of us, anyone listening, that may have these strange memories and are not sure how they could tie into a larger narrative.
So my memories of water go back to childhood. And like you, I have a relationship to it. One of the common memories that people have who begin to discover the dark corners of their own past, especially if it happens to involve certain projects related to military intelligence and dark science, is something around water. A lot of us, and this was something that early on in our relationship, Emily Moyer and I talked about a lot, both privately and in terms of the show. It was a touchstone memory because I think it's so visceral and it's a memory. To explain water itself is so difficult because it's so common. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like 90% of our body. And at the same time, we don't really understand much about, I will say, the mystical properties of water in terms of how we interact with it, because we take it for granted.
Yeah.
But the concept of us actually being creatures of water is very difficult to fathom, because as mortal, mammalian, air-breathing human beings, water represents, in a lot of ways, an existential threat. Not enough of it, we die. Too much of it, we die. It's kind of like how much water is just enough, and it's because we can drown. And we don't really have the ability, we believe, as air-breathing mammals to exist in water. And yet this memory isn't just people who have memories of projects. It's actually in the genetic memory of the human race.
Yes.
And we find it through mythology. We find it through these imagery of these mer people, which to me, I mean, just think on a simplistic level of The Little Mermaid and how popular that is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any little girl. I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter, and we've suffered through Little Mermaids endlessly. But there's something to it. I grew up reading comic books, and two of my most enduring comic book titles were Aquaman and Submariner, Marvel and DC battling it out. These were characters who were depicted as living in underwater worlds, literally as sort of hybrid beings who could exist underwater and also exist above water. In other words, they were almost amphibian. And so we have these concepts even of the sinking of Atlantis. And does Atlantis exist at the bottom of the sea somewhere? Is it still an undersea kingdom of some sort? All of these images kind of sit on the edge of our consciousness. And I believe they're reminders of something that's very real in terms of who we are as a race of people and where we've been perhaps in other historical slices of dimensionality or alternative pasts and futures. In other words, water itself is something far more mystical and important than we understand.
When I got to adulthood and I started to examine some of my inherent fears, the main one was really water. Now, I did love swimming in swimming pools. I was able always to swim, and everyone knows I was born with web feet, but I guess that's not uncommon. And the story I got when I was a little bit older, my mama told me, she said it in passing one day. I guess they just took the little membrane because, you know, you're a little tiny newborn, and just wiped his finger through each of my toes. It's really terrible getting shoes. They're really wide at the front, but and I can walk like a Peking duck if I need to. However, I was always comfortable in the idea of swimming, and I can swim really well. And I was always the best swimmer around, especially when it came into chlorinated waters where I didn't have this weird fear. But then I had these memories of being at the bottom of the pool that are vivid, vivid, vivid. I'll never be able to wipe those out. However, it deepened when we would go to the ocean or lakes, which we did a lot. We were very sporty people. And so I was forced to be in the water, and I hated it. I did not like murky water. Weird things are always attracted to me in water. I remember deep sea fishing. I'm the only one who caught an electric eel. Everyone's catching all this other stuff. I pull up the weird stuff. The captain's like, what's up with this child? And I remember being in Daytona one time, and my Momo and I wouldn't get in the water. So I got on her shoulders. We go out. She forces me down, and I go down, and then all of a sudden there's all these fish, and then there's this shark alert. So I'm, I'm like, oh my God. I'm jumping back on my mom's shoulders and we're hightailing it out. And then, years later when I'm there with my husband, we go, and it happened to be one of those freak storms when the box jellyfish came in from wherever. And I'm out there, I'm on like noodles, and Scott, my ex-husband, just sees these tentacles going off of my shoulder. Like they look like glass Chinese noodles. Next thing I know, I'm in the hotel room and he's peeing on me. And, what a way to get a golden shower. And so, it's just, Randy, it's just been a constant. In San Francisco, when I was very young, I came to consciousness many times at the sea cliff looking out. I'm not sure how I got there. I will say I did do a lot of drugs in San Francisco. I was a teenager. And so it plays out in my dreams as well.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. I have a lot of dreams in water to this day. My relationship with water is, like you, I grew up obviously in swimming pools, but where I grew up in Pennsylvania, I grew up in the mountains. So there's a lot of streams and lakes. Where we live here is literally a river valley for this river called the Susquehanna, which is a river of dreams that empties into the Chesapeake Bay.
A lot of woo around that river.
There's a whole lot going on with that. Michael Wan talks about that. The river itself is iconic.
Yes.
There's mysteries in it. And I grew up beside this river. I mean, literally a half a mile from my house, this river ran, and as kids we played in it. We played in its tributaries, we played in the streams. And I grew up in a time, at least for me, when children weren't so regulated. All the things that we were told not to do, of course we did, which meant crossing the railroad tracks and going to the river. So that was the top of the forbidden list. Did both of those routinely. And the river is kind of emblematic of my relationship with nature and the things of mystery. I have very deep memories of the river. Interesting thing is that this river flows into a confluence at the origin of the Chesapeake. There's a confluence where the river flows down into. There's an island there. That island actually is owned by the Army, and that particular piece of land is part of what's probably almost, I'll say, 300 square miles of property owned by the military going up into what's called Edgewood Arsenal, or what you would call Aberdeen Testing Grounds. Along with that are the labyrinths, caves, and underground tunnels that run all through the mountains, hills, and streams of this region. So there's a lot of convoluted memories there in terms of how we travel through the earth and how we wind up meeting water coming out of a cave. There's a lot of deep mystery around this. I have very specific memories of twice drowning, literally drowning, and literally being resuscitated. If anybody's seen the TV series that ran on Netflix called The OA, The Other Angels, that's what OA stands for. In that they use basically forced drowning to take the child subjects into I guess you would call it a near-death, post-death experience to tap into interdimensionality of the soul. So now we're a little closer to something very interesting.
Yes. In
terms of water itself. And the more I studied water and the more I came to understand it, here's a fact. In 2006, a scientist with a Russian surname, I imagine he's probably a Russian scientist working at Oak Ridge National Laboratories, discovered what they are touting as the fourth state of water. And that fourth state of water is quantum.
Ooh.
They discovered that water under extreme pressure literally can jump through an electron wall, just like the tunneling experiments. This is literally water can tunnel. It can electron tunnel through microtubules, much like the famous blind slit experiments that were done on electrons. Those tests seem to indicate that the water molecules could exist in either of or both locations on either side of a solid wall formation, and the particular mineral was beryl, which is kind of interesting. If you go online, the extracts are there that were released by Oak Ridge National Laboratories, and there's a number of articles online about it. Back in the late 1920s, early 1930s, an Austrian naturalist named Victor Schauberger discovered the plasma properties of water. Schauberger was a naturalist who worked for the equivalent of the Austrian Park Service pre-World War II. And he was studying the spawning of salmon going upstream. Now, most people don't realize that salmon literally swim upstream. Schauberger was noting the salmon could literally swim up an entire vertical waterfall.
Yes.
He studied this, and as a result of what he found was a layer of plasmic energy that sat at the very top of the water. And anybody who has a relationship with water, if you're attuned, you will soon come to see that water has an aura.
Yes.
Just like we do. Water's a living entity. It's more than that. But first and foremost, it's living. The salmon themselves were actually able, through the use of their own structure, the gills, the fins, the vertebrae, the fish itself, are raised in such a way, very specifically, that it could attach to the frequency of the plasma. They were not swimming upstream. They were literally flying upstream, riding the reverse currents of a plasma field that was sitting on top of a cascading waterfall.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah, truly. This is one of the things I think that gave me the chills when I would get into natural water as opposed to chlorinated water. I felt this actual sentience with it, that it was alive, that it was conscious in a way that I couldn't understand at the time, but it was able to permeate whatever was going on in my world at different points when I found myself in it and in contact with it, that shook me to the bone. And I think on a primordial level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it's that cellular, and I will say DNA level memory. Part of my Eye of the Needle series involves aspects of DNA specifically, and trying to understand the quantum nature of DNA and how it relates to both the state of human consciousness in its present form and the escalation of human consciousness as we go into this next wave. Mm-hmm. And it's very clear that there's a genetic gateway that itself is extra-dimensional and probably attached to the spirit realm. So I see a lot of correlation between the mystery of our DNA that's inside our body, this living substance that's all around us, that's within us, that is in itself an information field. I mean, the more we learn about genetics, the more we know that the DNA itself is a huge information field.
Yeah.
And it appears as though the connection on the external world may in fact be water, that water itself stores information and structures it in such a way that it can then be accessed. I know that sounds woo-woo and strange, but my experiences with water have been when I really need to work something out, a lot of times I go near water. Mm-hmm. I immerse in water. I put my feet in water. And it seems to trigger something inside of me that comforts me and also activates a certain energetic level.
Mm-hmm. I do this as well. I'll get my feet in, and I love a bath. Of course, I'm a bath person, with throwing in minerals and stuff, trying to
absolutely
help the water out, the water that we get served to us. And I think, don't you have well water where you are?
I don't know. Actually, here, no, we're in a very suburban situation here. It's actually almost urban now.
At any rate, this is something that I have learned. I need to live by water. So whether it's a creek or a river or an ocean, and I do tend to gravitate towards larger rivers or oceans, I have found absolutely essential in my being. I seem to wither when I'm not within a good proximity of a body of water, a natural body of water. And this is all part of this trying to understand the connection between myself and water. But in this journey, I have discovered so many people have this same feeling without ever having questioned why.
It's because of the energy, first off. It's so primal. Our water situation, unfortunately, this place where I live right now, we are using water that's being conveyed to us. That will change this. We're going to, eventually get out of here.
Yeah.
And one of my goals is to get near water.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do to remediate that. I filter water. I structure water.
Yes.
I don't drink any water from taps. Even if I have to buy, which is a second or third choice, I usually travel with my own water. I carry water with me wherever I go here. And it's the water that has been run through a filtration system and through a structuring unit.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to drink because it's the purest form. But there are things you can do. And one of the things that you can do, whether your water is city water, which probably contains chlorine, chloride, fluoride, and all these other things, is first off, you can let it sit, which will evaporate off the gases. You can then begin to bless the water and speak to the water.
Yes.
The water can self-heal. Everybody talks about this, the famous experiments that Dr. Emoto did of speaking to water and freezing it to see the intentionality as it's structured in the ice lattices. That is a very simple form of what we can do with water on a communication level, is speak to it, bless it, chant over it, play frequencies to it. Mm-hmm. In other words, restructure the water with intentionality and with harmonics, your own human harmonics.
Yeah. I have a Berkey, and then I filter down, and I have shungite. Shungite and all that. And
shungite's very good.
Oh, I love it so much for so many things. One of the things that I do with the food I eat as well as the water I drink is I am definitely one of these people that blesses the stuff that goes into my body, even if it's junk food. I try to throw on my intent. So if it's this holy sacred M&M, right? And I'm being bad and I'm having an M&M. Actually, don't think of it as being bad, and I'm being decadent. This is something that is an intentional form of transmuting an energetic field that I'm going to take into myself. So on the good days, on the best of days, when I'm at my best, of course, I'm not having the sacred M&M. So, I'm just, that's for jokes. But it did happen today, Randy. It did indeed happen today. However, would you go a little bit more into structured water for people? I think that falls into the land of woo-woo for some reason.
Well, it does and it doesn't. There's actually, and I'm not going to give you any specific brands. If I will just say, if you search structured water out there, there are several people who offer various different types of systems for structuring water. The one that I use is a 3D printed, very simple. It's about the size of a cup that you would fill water with. So it probably holds 8 to 10 ounces at a time. Mm-hmm. And inside of it is 3D printed a matrix, a spiral matrix inside of it with nodules. And what this particular unit is doing is simulating the energy of a stream cascading off of rocks. Schauberger's observations were made of water in motion coming over falls.
Yes.
So that is actually structured water itself, because the energy is structuring the water energetically. That's why it's throwing off those plasma fields. That's why moving water is so much more energetic than the still water that you would find in a pond.
Yes.
Or even the water which is expressed through pipes, because they're going through a straight line. Nature does not have straight lines. It goes back to this whole concept of the quantum water moving through solid structure, in that energetically it appears water is predisposed to dynamically move through, not just around, under. It's often said water will move to whatever level it needs to move to continue moving. But really, now it looks like water moves not only around, under, but it's through solid matter.
Mm-hmm.
So structuring water is simply adding energy to the water. And if you do a web search, there are people out there who sell units. Some of them are quite expensive, but you can get a very simple water structuring unit, one that requires no external energy, one that you can actually stick in your backpack and take with you. And the act of structuring the water is the act of blessing the water. It puts energy into it, which means that that water, when it goes into your body, is interacting with you on a nanoscale as well.
Yeah.
Our body's tissues are at nanoscale.
Yes.
You know, that's something we're learning. People know I'm a big fan of C60. C60 operates on a nanoscale in terms of being able to express carbon into the tissue, which in turn covalences with it and enables it to open up to receive more of your nutritional, your herbal supplements, things like that. Your water is doing the same thing. If you even slightly structure it, you're opening it up to move through your body and to begin to super hydrate your body.
Yes.
And hydration is really important now. One of the reasons why most people get sick is because almost everybody is hydrated.
Yes.
We drink coffee, we drink energy drinks, we drink soda pop, which is frankly hideous for you.
Oh, terrible.
We intake a lot of sodium in our food. Nothing wrong with salt. Salt in proportion is good. Fresh and ideally filtered and structured water in as much abundance as you can handle. I mean, obviously, you don't drink until you slosh.
Yeah.
But if you're already feeling thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Yeah.
We should be hydrating. And I would say on an average day, I carry a 24-ounce container of my ice, which obviously is filtered and structured itself, with me. And that throughout the day may be refilled 2 or 3 times as I go through my day, and sometimes even more. Thirst is the externalized form of your body screaming at you. Really slow intake of water throughout the day, even just little sips. And if the water is structured and good, you're going to convey that through your body at tissue level and ideally at nanoscale.
Yeah.
And that really helps your body to remain energetic and to be able to fend off nasty little things like, engineered viruses put out by our own government.
Yeah.